So learning styles, just to give you guys some orientation and give you some information. VARC. VARC is the most widely utilized and studied kind of model, right? Or the four main learning styles that you'll hear about. And it was instituted in 1992, okay? And it's been used, it's widely used. You'll also, like, you can Google this, you can look up, and I've spent years, I know it's out there. There are multiple ones where they'll be like, there are 6 learning styles, or there are, 8 learning styles. However, if you look at them, they kind of have a confluence in these main 4, but just also for simplicity's sake, I think a lot of times it really focused back in on these main 4, which is why I tried to give you kind of some orientation for each one, right, of what strikes each of these 4 basic learning styles. And we can talk later too, because, and you'll see on my next one, I break out a couple of the others, and I'll show you why I do that. But first, you've got where VARC comes from. You've got visual. Okay, so what's going to soak in and how kids are going to learn best with this one are pictures, diagrams, graphs. They just make sense. They make order to an order to the world that resonates and will sink in more, right? If you're a visual processor. And keep in mind, remember, like we talked about, you can very often have 2 solid, strong learning styles, which is a blessing. Huge, that's wonderful. But there are some kids who are going to be, and I've seen it, where it's so strong for one, and that might be why the family and the student are having such a disconnect in school, because it's not the one that is in school. Okay. And a quick little aside here that's relevant to this, that is what I want to emphasize here again with you moms. Public school is simply a means, a way to educate and help kids learn. And it does not reach very high percentage of the population. So there's quite a lot of disconnect. And I also want you guys to know, John Taylor Gatto also wrote a phenomenal book called The Underground History of American Education. Outstanding. And our entire public school system was built and designed to literally churn out good workers. No leaders. We don't want people questioning authority. We don't want that. We need good workers in the industrial age. We need good workers. We need them fast. We need them now. Yes, we need to educate them, but the basics, what do they need to know, and how to follow orders, how to follow instruction, how to just do what you're told. It's a fact. Okay, and all of those things figured in because we as a society needed that. And unfortunately, we have not shifted. It just has grown, and as government's gotten stronger and it's become more federal as opposed to local, that is what's happened. Okay, and by the way, did I tell you I'm a huge government and constitution nerd? Let me forewarn you about that. I grew up on Capitol Hill, literally. I love Capitol Hill. I've written laws and drafted laws from everything from local ordinances here in Illinois to federal legislation. So I apologize in advance that I am a super constitution and government nerd. So I will be throwing stuff like that in there for you. But it matters. And I feel like it's foundational for understanding. So public schools may work wonderfully for your kid, but it's not actually the largest part of the population. And a lot of it is because it doesn't, and I know teachers are awesome. Don't get me wrong. Teachers are amazing. And a lot of great teachers know this and they are taught this and they get it and they try to teach to all of them, but it's really hard. It's super hard. Okay. Their hands are tied so often administratively. So just throwing that out there. Okay. Auditory, listening, music, rhythms. Okay. All of that really makes a big difference. If you're an auditory learner, even like, those times where a teenager or your kid is like, I need to listen to music, and you're going, no way, you couldn't do that because maybe you're not an auditory learner. And I will tell you, actually, one of the tricks for one of my 2E, actually multiple E children who is doing amazing. He's my baby. He's actually heading to Lake Forest, almost entirely covered. And he, aside from all the other issues he has besides dyslexia and other processing disorders, rhythms and music can actually help solidify. You know, at one point in time after he suffered a severe traumatic brain injury that we've worked him through. And by the way, it can be done. He's been taking college classes since he was 16, even during the TBI, and did outstanding. So it can be done. But again, I had the time and the focus on him. He would listen to music. And if he listened to the same music when he was taking the test on the material, it would trigger. Okay, and so there is something to that, but not knowing that, right? Just like when I was in school, my parents were constantly like, what are you listening to music for? There's no way you're going to remember anything. And I didn't know any of this. I just knew that it worked for me. Okay, listen to get some air supply. Okay, yeah, yes, I am weird. Okay, so definitely matters and can make a big difference if you are auditory as one of your primary ones. Okay, the next one, read and write. Okay, are we all seeing which one maybe school's built off of, right? Read and write, essentially. Reading, taking notes. I know it's huge for me to take notes. Huge for me to take notes. And then the final one, kinesthetic. Kinesthetic is, I want to throw out this caveat too. I think everyone, and I think it's been shown through study after study after study, that kinesthetic learners, hands-on, using your body, when you can do something along with reading or writing or auditory, we're going to talk more about this, it will solidify it. Okay. I'm going to throw this out there. We had a mini trampoline in our house for many years, and it was a lifesaver, especially in a Chicago winter. But it was go, jump. I mean, they jump off of it. My girl, all the time. It was amazing. It would release endorphins and get their brains going. I would run spelling drills and vocabulary drills, bouncing on there. Amazing, right? Because of that hands-on body touch, right? And you can incorporate the kinesthetic so much easier when you're homeschooling your children. It's outstanding. Okay, so really quickly too, I wanted to break out some of these others that you'll see, but that I think also are very relevant, including social interpersonal. Okay, that is huge for me and one of my children, actually two. This kind of group work, right? And all of you moms out there are saying, oh my gosh, yes, it's so important for my family, my kid too, and or for me, and now we've got COVID. You can do it. You can do it. You can do it online, and you can do it virtually, and there are just amazing things that you can do to build community online and have your kids come together and do. There's a great term now, the micro schools and all that kind of thing, which all that means is families coming together of similar ages, or I would encourage you, even multiple ages, who can get together and do some kind of group work. And there are subjects that are great for that, like history and science. Phenomenal. Okay. There's also intrapersonal or solitary self-study. And I have those in my house too, right? And knowing this kind of thing really helps. It helps you to not, if you're a social interpersonal and you're like, wait a second, you should, how you can't be alone that long, or you can't do it that way, or all of us tend to do that. It'll help you maybe get out of that. And now the logic and thinking, the systems, logic, sequences. Okay, you'll see that one thrown out there as well, where there can be a strong, that's big for me, the whole logic sequences thing. That's where the law came in. So those are some other ones that you'll see and are very valid, very valid. Okay, so here I wanted to give you guys resources. Jack is going to put these into the chat for you as well. Okay, and so here are the ones that I recommend, the ones that I use with my clients, trying to hold nothing back from you guys this week, to really just help you on your way. And I'm so excited. I know from the last boot camp, I'm just thrilled that people were feeling empowered. And so here are ones that I would recommend. As you can see, I think it's super important. Some of them, and I've taken and used a lot of different ones. I think it's super, super important that you make sure that it's appropriate for the ages of your child. So that's why I break this up. And honestly, 12, you guys, 12 is that pivotal age that I found that could kind of go either way. So if you kind of like the one that I say 4 to 11 and your student's 12, it's fine. If you want to do the same one, completely okay to do that. Okay. So yeah. All right. And my favorite fun meme. Thank you for hanging in there. And I am going to stay now to answer your questions, but I really hope that you got some good information out of today, some first steps. I really encourage you to take these steps, and yeah, and I will now take your questions and any kind of personal questions that you have.